September 2025. In a towering glass headquarters in San Francisco, an email lands simultaneously in the inboxes of 4,000 customer support employees at Salesforce. By the time they finish reading the subject line, every single one of them is unemployed. This chart maps the cascading fallout across the tech industry. That initial wave of 4,000 at Salesforce is quickly dwarfed by 12,000 at TCS, then 14,000 at Amazon. In total, the U.S. tech sector shed over 1.1 million jobs, the largest labor contraction since the 2020 pandemic. Those 4,000 chairs at Salesforce weren't boxed up, and those jobs weren't shipped overseas to cheaper human labor. They were handed directly to AI agents. The CEO confirmed that half of all their customer interactions were suddenly being handled by software. The modern worker now faces a replacement that doesn't sleep, never gets fatigued, and requires zero salary. To see exactly who is vulnerable, look at this workflow diagram. Notice this path: data entry, storing, output. Any job built entirely on repeating strict rules is being bypassed by a single straight line of algorithmic logic. That straight line is now slicing through prestige roles that used to be considered secure career paths. Basic software coding and entry-level accounting rely heavily on rigid syntax and formatting rules, repetition that machine learning models can execute in seconds without error. Looking at these cuts, the labor market appears to be collapsing. But we have weathered this exact strain of technological panic before. Fixating entirely on the jobs being destroyed obscures the historical reality of how technology actually behaves in an economy. In the 1970s, banks began installing steel boxes with screens into their exterior walls. Customers could swipe a card, punch in a code, and withdraw cash at any hour. The immediate assumption was that human bank tellers were about to become entirely obsolete. Instead, a paradox emerged. Because the machines absorbed the expensive, tedious work of counting out cash, the cost to operate a single bank branch plummeted. Banks responded to that cheap overhead by opening exponentially more locations. With more branches opening on every corner, banks had to hire thousands of humans to staff them. But they didn't hire people to count bills. They hired loan officers, mortgage specialists, and relationship managers, roles that paid far more and required complex human judgment. The economic law holds: machines consume the repetitive, mechanical tasks. By stripping that dead weight away, they clear the ground for entire new categories of higher-value human work. We can map that exact same law onto our current decade using the latest projections from the World Economic Forum for the year 2030. This area chart tracks the net global labor impact. The steep dip seen here represents 92 million legacy jobs being eradicated by automation. That immediately following it is a massive upward wave, 170 million entirely new roles, like prompt engineers and AI operations specialists. In this new market, the nature of the competition shifts. You are no longer fighting the algorithm, you are competing against the person wielding it. Accessing that upward wave requires intensive, hands-on practice with massive datasets. But university students are hitting a hard infrastructure wall. Running complex AI models requires vast amounts of server compute power, metered out in digital currency called AI tokens. Traditional college curriculums don't supply these tokens, leaving eager students locked out by limit reached notifications right when they need to experiment. Success in 2030 depends on institutional access to practice and fail within massive AI systems. To bypass that compute wall, specialized upskilling programs are now allocating digital currency directly to students. NIIT, for example, provides over 100 crore AI tokens to their engineering students, treating server time as a fundamental utility rather than a luxury. This access allows students to move past textbook theory and execute actual, corporate-backed business solutions by their fourth semester, earning a professional stipend while still in school. In an economy moving this fast, a piece of paper citing a theoretical degree carries almost zero weight. Companies are hiring the candidates who walk into the interview holding a portfolio of active, executed AI projects. Preparing for that interview requires building 3 distinct shields. The first is pure adaptability, whether you are editing video, writing software code, or managing supply chains, so the machine becomes your specialized assistant. The second is creative judgment. offload all of your tedious, repetitive formatting and data entry to the algorithm. This frees up your cognitive bandwidth to focus entirely on complex strategy and high-level problem solving. The third and final shield is human connection. A machine can analyze a dataset, but it cannot foster the trust required to lead a team or project the confidence needed to close a high-stakes deal. The deadline of 2030 is approaching fast. The invisible replacement is already standing at your desk. You must decide today whether you'll let it take your chair or if you're going to teach it to take your orders.